Okay, everyone's good to record if you got that acceptance earlier. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy holidays. I'm glad you're taking time away from this busy time of year. But it's all for a good purpose, good reason, because you're investing in yourself so that you can live the life you've designed and dreamed of. And we are so grateful to have everyone here, those who have gone through the process a little bit closer to going through dental school than Dr. Williams and myself. But let me just admit here, as I'm doing a little bit of everything. But just a quick introduction. I'm Dr. Haisha. My first name is Layla Haisha. I'm so pleased to be here. I just had a vision really to work towards increasing the diversity in dentistry. Really start our pipeline earlier from our youth, but right now our focus today is on our pre-dental students who are very close to becoming student doctors and dentists in the field. And I founded Diversity in Dentistry Mentorship, but I have not been able to do this by myself. I've had an amazing team with like-minded members of my board, including Dr. Williams, who's here, who I'll introduce, who's been a great moderator through these sessions of these group accountability calls, because we've had such a outpouring of need to match up our mentors with mentees that we are still looking towards getting even more partnerships. And until we could do so, we thought we'd get to do our group calls. And this has been great because we've formed a relationship, we're sharing ideas, sharing tips, just so that we can, all of you can succeed. So Dr. Williams is our vice president of the board. He graduated from Meharry Medical College. He then went on and got a general practice residency certificate at University of Pennsylvania, the VA. He's then also got a certificate in IV sedation. That's his passion, is IV, implantology, surgical coaching, and the like. So he's been a great leader and motivator, encourager, and kind of a personal life coach too. So we're so blessed to have you, Dr. Williams. And also just a quick wave from our other board members that are here, Ms. Luma Chinyi and Ms. Lynette Rodriguez. Thank you here for your support. We also have our student intern, who is applying to dental school as well, Ms. Viviana Sainz. And I just wanted to welcome her. And then I'll turn it over to Dr. Williams to introduce our guest speakers today, our dental students. So thank you so much.
All right, good morning, everyone. So I'm going to speak very little and give the time over to, I'm going to go in order, so there's no issues here. Tolu first, she's a senior, Mike, third year, and Vince, he is a sophomore. And I wanted to make sure that they speak more than I, because that's most important, because I wanted you, and so how I mentor and how I go about doing things is empowerment, so that they won't ever have to run back to the source. They are the source. They are the plug, like the young kids like to call it. Because I wanted to make sure that they are empowered to give this insight. And I know I made this mention to you, Kim, specifically on here, to just make sure that you guys have the empowerment, so that as you guys do your job, you're actually pulling people up the mountain to see the vast blessings that are out there. So without further ado, once again, you have Tolu. She's a senior at UT here in Houston. You have Mike, who's a third year here in Houston. You have Vince, who is at Touro. He's a sophomore in New York. So you have a good understanding of what's out there. So without further ado, I like to say ladies first. Go ahead. But gentlemen, if you want to cover her, have chivalry in your blood, go ahead and you can do that as well.
This is what that chivalry blood that I'm gonna do.
Well then, I will start. Hey guys, my name is Tolu. Good morning. Like Dr. Williams said, I am a DS4 student in UT Health School of Dentistry. And I'm just happy to be here with you all today to answer whatever questions you might have and just whatever needs to be said.
Thank you. I think Dr. Michael's connection is bad. Dr. Nguyen, can you come in?
Hello, everybody. My name is Vincent, and I'm currently a D2 at Touro College of Dental Medicine up in New York. And I'm happy to be here to answer any questions or concerns that y'all may have in regards to applying to dental school or the DAT or anything about dental school in general. Happy to be here this morning.
All right, so it looks like we gotta spark the fire a little bit this morning. All right, so let me just give y'all background on where we are now. So we've been working with several dental students that have selected their times in which they're going to study for the exams. We've given them different items that they could do to study for their exams. And so what I wanted you to do is this, because y'all are probably like, what are we here to speak about? So specifically the DAT, and what that looks like is this. Like right now, you have at least 4 individuals that are on here now that are preparing for their DAT. And so if you could do this, if you could just take about 2 minutes just to spark the fire and just determine what was your experience and what were some resources that you used that allowed you to get into the school that you're into, and we could start it that way. So I'm gonna just start calling people out. Tolu, go.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, well, I would say that for me, I would just kind of go in order based on the subjects that that's on the DAT, and then let me know if I'm missing anything else, but it's been a minute. But I think the length of time I studied was definitely important. I think when it comes to each subject, it was important to be more effective than just studying and studying and studying. So I would say for organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, I don't know if you guys have heard of chat videos. Those were very, very helpful just to go through the content in general. And so that would take you quite a bit to do that. And afterwards, of course, practices are important. I think there was some practices on there as well. And then I don't remember the name of the book, but it's pretty common for that to be the book people practice with. I didn't really lean on that book as much because it was a bit more advanced than what was needed, and I did not want to waste a lot of time, so I just focused more on the videos. Yes, DAT Destroyer. Yeah, so I think it's pretty good if you want to just practice here and there, but I really didn't lean a lot on that book because it was a bit more advanced and a lot more than needed. And then as far as biology, I forgot what it's called. It's online. It's like an online, just pages of books. I'm sure you guys know the name of it, but I did a little bit of that as well. So I just So Cliff Notes, but I guess there's a book now for it. So I wasn't aware of that. Yeah. So at that time it was just online. And so we could literally just print it out. And that's all I went through for biology. And of course, when it was like a week before my exam, I ended up going through the more summarized version for the biology section. And I think the biggest thing with biology is definitely practicing a lot. So using the Destroyer is definitely helpful for the biology section. Going through the entire questions is something that I did maybe once or twice if you can. I'll go through it real quickly. And then PAT, just a lot of practices from different websites. And we can talk about that a little bit more on that. English, I just read a lot of medical and dental articles that were, I won't say boring, but were very extensive. And I just read. And then there's like an app where you can plug in, that you can kind of plug in some of the words and learn how to read fast. And I think that was like very, very helpful for me. As far as critical thinking, don't really know what to say about that. Best of luck. And then am I missing another? I feel like I'm missing something else. I can't remember. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like there's another subject, but it's not coming to me right now. But Yep. That's it for the most part. I studied for about 2 months, I would say, a month and a half. I think for me, I studied about 8 hours every day, and then kind of chilled on Sunday, did a little bit of work here and there. I don't know how everybody is, but I tend to not leave things up to chances. I'm very thorough when I go through stuff. And I think the biggest thing is working hard and then staying as focused as possible during that time. So
I like it. So just kind of give you a recap. She was very specific on what she did and the timing that she studied. She did go to PV, so just want to throw that out there as well. And also state what school you actually went to, because this is good information. I hope you're taking some notes down, because this is going to be, she's successful. She's a senior, so she knows what she's talking about. Mike, go ahead. Same question. We want to know what made you successful. How did you study, and be specific on what you actually did. So how many questions you did, how many hours you studied, how many days you took, how many months you took to study, so on and so forth. Go ahead, take it away.
All right. Can everyone hear me? Sorry, my connection was a little spotty earlier. But so for my DAT prep, I spent probably like about 2 to 3 months just of dedicated studying. I set out pretty much like the entire day to study. Like I would try to study 2 subjects per day. So I would like spend the morning studying math for about like 4 hours, and then the evening, like after taking a break, oh, sorry. You guys can hear me now?
Yeah.
So for my DAT prep, it was mainly dedicating one part of the day for one subject and then another subject for like the evening. And like one thing that I definitely thought that helped me just like not burn out through the entire summer that I had that I dedicated to studying was I would always like spend an hour, you know, watching a movie, watching some TV show, or like going out just to like so it's a long grind. I'll say that it seems like kind of like daunting at first, but like you realize that you have so many people around you. Like you have this organization, you can find people that are also just to keep you motivated, friends that will keep you accountable. And I definitely like going through this. Like you don't want to go through it alone. You want to be able to use those resources to your advantage. And what Tolu was saying, like those resources for each subject, I definitely use those same ones. I'm not sure if Tolu mentioned boot camp. I use that to start out for most of it. I use also the Kaplan prep. This is like building blocks. Like from there, I started just hammering away at questions. Still like doing one subject in the morning and another subject in the evening. I would just keep on doing questions after questions, just repetition after a lot of repetition. And I think that really helped me just get used to the format of the exam. And I also will say that like my first few times, I think it was like my 2 or 3 exams in, I was making the same score or like making very little improvement. And that was super discouraging. Like I was like, I'm putting all these hours, like what am I doing wrong? And like honestly, I don't think I saw like a big improvement until like I was completely done with the Kaplan prep course. And like after I had done who knows how many questions. Like I wish I could tell you like how many questions I did specifically, but it was just my life was prepping for this exam. But you know, you get through it. You see the patterns of the exam. You see the like how questions are similar to one another, And I definitely think that if you like key in and focus on those aspects, it'll help a lot.
I know we'll do questions after everyone speaks, but just really quick, when you were saying that you saw that you're getting the same scores, I know a lot of students are wondering when they're ready. Like after you've done so many, when did you know it was okay to go ahead and put the money down and set your date to take that test?
So I guess like I preemptively set my date. Like I knew like at the end of the summer, like right before I went back to college, I was gonna take it. So like I would say after like 2 months of studying, I was like, I'm starting to feel like a little tired. I'm starting to feel a little bit of burnout. And I was like, I probably should like start, easing back, still studying, but like understand that I don't want to go into this exam completely mentally drained. Mm-hmm. So as important as it is to like set aside enough time for you to prepare well for the exam, you don't want to be studying for so long that you just end up being super tired going into the exam. Like you want to have like a good enough timing to where like you can power through. I forgot how long the DAT is. It's like, I guess like they set aside 8 hours, was it 4 hours? 4 hours? Yeah. So you want to be able to sit down, take those 4 hours seriously.
Okay. All right, thanks. We'll get over to Vincent.
Vince. Okay.
All right, so like Mike mentioned, the main resource that I used was DAT Bootcamp. And like I was taking the DAT alongside like some of my other pre-dental friends at the same time. So we split the 3-month subscription for bootcamp. And like to save some money, and like we all, keep each other on track and like study alongside one another. It really helps. And yeah, through like DAT Bootcamp, they have a pretty like set schedule for 3 months that lists out like literally every single subject and like how much you're supposed to study every day. And they have like practice questions and many videos and resources available. And so I studied for about 2.5 months. So I condensed the schedule that was on DAT Bootcamp and spent pretty much half of my time studying like and getting to know the material very well, and the other half just going through practice questions. Like towards the end, I was going through like maybe 100 practice questions total per day, like combined across all the subjects. And then the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I was just taking like full exams every day or every other day and reviewing my results. And like when it comes to practicing both like with questions and like old exams, it really helps to review the questions that you get not only incorrect, but the questions that you get correct as well. And like going through each answer choice, figuring out why a certain one is wrong versus like the correct answer. And in that sense, you're studying like the material as well, And yeah, like they said, it was like a full-time job. I studied anywhere from like 8 to 10 hours a day over the course of 2 months. And I usually took Sundays off to relax, maybe did some light studying or review if I wanted to, but like after 6 days straight of studying, it was nice to just like unwind and like let all the material marinate so that I'm not like burnt out and overwhelmed by the time the exam came around. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just like honestly practice as much as you possibly can, especially in regards to the PAT, the reading and math sections. With those sections, it's difficult to just study material. With those, it just requires a lot of repetition and practicing of the material. Like there's lots of online resources and old questions and exams that you can go through. And for like me personally, the most difficult section was the sciences, just because they're all together within like an hour and a half, and there's a lot of material for each section, especially biology. There's ridiculous amount of information that you have to know. So definitely spend a lot of time to make sure that you have the material down and review it as much as you possibly can to make sure you have a good, like, solid foundation.
Thank you, guys. So I just want to do a recap of what everybody was saying. So, and y'all probably heard these already, but one thing that was shared is share the logins for your test prep, because these things can be very expensive depending on, I don't know where you guys come from. There's different ones such as DAT Bootcamp and DAT Destroyer. There is this thing called mental drain, so have some time to take a day off. People are hearing that people are studying 4, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. The average time that the three of these future doctors are studying is about 2 months. I mean, studying for the examiners are 2 months. And you see that there's a lot of questions being done. So I just wanted to make sure that we had that. These are different things to take in consideration. And these are regular human individuals, regular people. Regular people. Not regular in the sense of not extraordinary, but they're just like you and I. And so I just really want to make sure that this is clear, because if they can do it, if we can do it, and we're all under one platform stream, then everybody can get this thing done. So anything that anybody else wants to add before questions start coming in? Mike, Tolu, anything extra that y'all want to state before we jump in, before they start opening it up for questions?
Oh, I was going to say another thing that I did that was helpful. I don't know how helpful this is now, because I'm guessing you guys are already in the studying process, is I was a part of a program that exposed me to studying. So it was a program that was supposed to prepare me for dental school in general. And part of that was the DAT section. And that was so helpful for me, because that's where I learned to not just read a bunch of books, or like I learned for each subject what's gonna work. That was it. Like, I didn't need any extra, like all this fancy whatever, or spending $1,000 when people teaching you certain things. I did not need that. And I think the biggest thing that I got from that program that I did is stamina. I thought I had stamina, y'all, but that was a joke. Can you sit there for 8 hours and take an exam? And they made us every Monday or every other Monday, we had to. So it just built a lot of stamina that I think is so imperative when you're taking the exam. You have to be focused and concentrate on what you're doing. And if you don't have stamina, just be honest with yourself and make sure you take the time not just to practice, but have more frequent days where you are taking the entire exam.
Thank you. Now, it tends to be when a lot of people get on the call, people start getting real shy and gun shy on this in terms of your questions. But these three individuals are taking the time out to answer your questions in order for you to be successful. So what I want for you to do now is open up your mic and ask them questions, because once they get off, they're going back to dental school. Once y'all get off, y'all are hopefully to pass this exam. So I really want for you guys to take advantage of this, because this is a rare opportunity for you all. So go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dimitri. I have a question. I am not like a traditional student, and unfortunately I can't I don't have the luxury of taking 8 hours to just study. Have to work and provide for my little one. So how would you recommend coming up with the study schedule, or how to, I guess, break down the whole process to get prepared for the exam with working?
And I'd also say we have some other members on the call here who are non-traditional students, applicants, who are dealing with that very same thing. So everyone feel free to chime in. We're all here to feed off of one another and help each other.
Hi, Demetria. I'm also a non-traditional pre-dental student, and I recently created a DAT schedule based off something that was on the student doctor network. I can go ahead and share that to you via Google Doc. It's just like an Excel sheet, and I break down, once I get work home from work, I just dedicate like the last 3 hours, and yeah, I'll just share that with you if you'd like.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, instead of like 8 hour study sessions, so far I have 3 hour study sessions with Sundays off. So that's
Okay.
what my study schedule looks like.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hey, Zoe, I want to say you're about to say something.
Yes. My question, Tolu, how you said, or anybody can answer this as well, but Tolu, how you said you learned that to not just be like rereading the material, but like how to actually study it. What methods do y'all recommend to actually study instead of like rereading what the information is?
Well, I just want to make sure, before I answer the question, or I can't really see your name on here. So did we answer the question? Are we good with that? We set with that? That's okay? Okay, I'll move on with the discussion then. I think for me, we're getting ready to go to dental school, and so college, many times we might be just reading or just learning the information, but knowing that we're getting to dental school, it means that we need to know this information, like it's like we're waking up with it. And so I think studying for me, for example, biology, I didn't find it that difficult because we're learning about the human body, we're learning about everything around us. And so I think for me, it was just kind of learning the information, like, this is who I am. I don't know how to really explain it. It's more of a lot of it was a mind thing, to be honest with you. That's why I can definitely understand the non-traditional, but I believe that in the time that you do have a level of focus is so imperative. And then the next day I would have flashcards where I would review the information. And so by the end of the week, I should know how to explain the process of whatever is going on in the body, of anything in general. I should know how to say it or explain it already. And so I would just say that it was about the resource that I used. Not, for me, there were specific resources, I don't know which one you guys are using, that was not considered as effective, even though people did use it. And so, I don't know if you guys have heard work smarter, not harder. I mean, I think work smart and hard, but you get what I'm trying to say. And so it was about using specific resource that was more effective and in the time period that you need to get that done. I don't know if that answers your question.
I wanted to ask, in any of these programs, do they have an audio version that can be played in a podcast format or on, that you can play in your headset, especially for if you're commuting to work as a non-traditional? I mean, I'm sure even if you are pre-dental and not non-traditional, you're still working, that you can get that in either while you're doing your workout or you're cooking or you're prepping for the day. Is that available?
Oh, sorry, I saw Dr. Williams shaking his head, so I thought he was about to say something. The only one I'm aware of is just the videos that they do have, but you can't listen to it when you're going home, actually. I think that's actually a great idea. I did a lot of, not with the DAT, but I do that from time to time. So yeah, that's a good option. And Zoe and Dimitri, I would say that something that's also helpful is kind of knowing yourself, knowing how much you need. I was out of school for a year before I took my DAT. So I knew that I needed to study for real. So I had to study more hours. So in the case of you maybe having kids or working and things like that, yes, you might only be able to dedicate 3 hours. But if you know you really, really need to study, then you might be studying for your DAT a bit longer than 2 months. Because 2 months is pretty condensed. And if you go online, there's actually a schedule that was created a while ago where it shows you like a 2-month schedule, what a 6-month schedule will look like. I wouldn't recommend too long, of course, because there is burnout. But I also think that being aware of your strengths and weaknesses, knowing how you are, in those sciences because they're imperative, and then you can kind of schedule yourself accordingly to that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead.
I have a question for Michael. Dr. Michael, I'm sorry, I can't say that. But you said that you took several tests and you were kind of getting a, I guess, a consistent grade or a grade that you didn't quite want. And it wasn't until you got to the end of Kaplan. How did you kind of handle that in the middle when you were kind of getting the same consistent grade? Do you know, like, okay, by the time I get to the end of this, I should go on higher, or like, what did you do in the middle where, you know, you were getting that consistent number?
Hey, Mike, unmute your mic. No pun intended. Mike.
I think his computer might be.
Or anybody.
Hey, Vince, you want to answer that question for her?
Yeah. So like with like similar to Mike, actually, like the first practice exams that I took following like finishing like studying the material, I also got like the same consistent like low scores. So like I found it kind of discouraging, but I realized that the biggest reason for doing so was the fact that like I had taken the time to study the material, but I didn't really have much experience with the actual exam. Because like with the actual test, you need to build up stamina. You need to build up like being able to answer many questions within a allotted time frame. And so like with those first few exams, I was just really trying to learn how to properly go about doing that. And the more practice I took and the more time that I dedicated towards like learning how to be both like efficient and accurate, the better my results improved. And like after taking several more practice exams, really like my scores began to increase. And then by the time I took the actual exam itself, I felt a lot more prepared and ready to do so.
Thank you. Hey, Mike, did you get that question?
Yeah, sorry. Again, network is just, I don't know what's going on. But so like the question was like, how did I get to that mental hill? To be honest, I just talked to my mom after. I'm gonna be honest, like she was like, why are you beating yourself up about this? Like, just keep on going at it, keep on praying, keep on believing, just keep on grinding the way that you have been. You'll eventually get through it. And like the next exam, I did like 2 or 3 points better, and I was like, okay, I think I got the hang of it. But what I started doing actually, like besides just, you know, believing and all that, I kept like multiple pages of notes, multiple like notebooks that I just like jotted in concepts, topics that I just kept on getting wrong. So like if I kept on, you know, messing up like the Krebs cycle or something, like I would just go in detail. I would look up extra facts about it. I would go through all the resources that I had and figure out like, what does the DAT ask about the Krebs cycle? And I would just continue to write that out, go through questions that related to the Krebs cycle and just see like, am I getting it? Am I getting it? I go back to my notes, cross off, check off. Okay, I got the concept, and I'll just move on to the next thing. So that kind of like goes back to like repetition. Like I kept those notes until like I was completely done with the DAT. I kept on going back to them, making sure like I am reaffirming my knowledge of this concept and knowing that I'm not gonna like forget it, you know. But yeah, definitely like going back to the original question of like mentality wise, like you want to be sure that you have you know, people that are in your corner rooting for you. It definitely helps.
How many tests did you guys take before actually took the real practice test. I'm sorry.
I think I took a total of like 8 or 10 practice exams over the course of like the 2 weeks prior to my actual DAT exam date. Like one test, pretty much one test every day or every other day, and then I'd spend like the following day reviewing the entire exam.
I would say if you have limited time, I did just about that, the same as Vincent. I would say that you don't have to spend as much taking a full exam, like 10 of it or 15 of it, however much I did. Sometimes what I did was I would take exam on English. And so I think the book camp permits you to do so. That was so helpful for me. When I got more comfortable with science subjects, I did not take a full exam for that. I just, like with English or PAT, I didn't really study those concepts. I just took exams and learned how to, because it's about speed, it's about, once I learned the information, I just learned how to take the exam and practice, and then go over my questions, of course.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing that Tolu did. I did section exams sometimes instead of taking the entire exam altogether because, again, I was just like trying to prevent burnout. And I think sometimes just focusing on a subject just lets you know if like you can really get through that section without having any problems. Total exams, I can't exactly remember, but I would say like what Vincent was saying is pretty accurate, like 8 to 10, I think. I know Kaplan gave, I think it was like maybe 3 to 5 exams, like it was optional. I think I eventually ended up taking like 5 or so Kaplan exams. But one thing I will say about Kaplan is it's a lot harder, or at least for me, it was a lot harder than the actual DAT. I think the most accurate representation of what the DAT will be like is DAT bootcamp. Yeah, Kaplan was just like I think I was just stressing myself out way too much. Like I was over preparing myself, which I will probably say like helped me a lot, but it was a lot, and you could probably save some money not going through that too. But yeah.
Hey, while the questions are still coming in, does anybody have like any pressing questions before we go back to Dimitri's question and Zoe's question? Just to recap. No. Okay. So the thing is, this is that is it Demetria? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So I would say this. I mean, we spoke about this before, but the main is like once you have a schedule, I shared with this story before. One thing I found that with individuals who have children, that is your superpower. All right. I wish I could see your face to see what kind of expression I'm getting back from you, but that's your superpower. And the reason why I say it's your superpower is because you don't have time to waste. And so that those 3 hours are literally 20 hours in the hand of somebody that's doing nothing with it. So I really want for you to use your quote unquote handicap and beat the crap out of what's ever coming toward you, simply because like the little time that you have, that's actually your gift. And so I really want to encourage and motivate you on what you have in your hand. As long as you use it and you're faithful with it, I'm telling you, that's going to be the greatest gift that you could ever have. So when you look at your schedule, like, oh, well, may not be traditional, I got a family or blah, or whatever the case may be, whatever that is your, that's to your benefit. And so I really want you to take advantage of that, because those times that you would otherwise have, it really focuses in. It's kind of like the sun and you get a magnifying glass. Like you could literally light a piece of paper on fire with that magnifying glass, because it really concentrates that energy into that one spot, opposed to just sunlight all over the place. And so just keep that in mind, because that this is where you are, this is the path that you decided to go on. And so don't wish it were easier. Taking this quote from somebody, don't wish it were easier, wish you were take the advantage of getting stronger. And so we have everybody, this is a community for everybody to take in and get the information needed in order for them to be successful, not just as a unit, but as a whole. So I really appreciate the fact that that community, Vincent said earlier about, coming together and sharing, the resources that are available, because when you get on an island, it's a little bit more challenging. But if you're in a community, man, you cannot be stopped no matter the outside pressures that are coming. So I wanted to just say, get excited, because I know Christy, she has an exam coming up in a couple weeks.
30
weeks. So I want you guys to get excited about the opportunity that's coming your way. So I just want to just say, hey, you got this. You guys got this. This is just going to be water on the bridge, and you're going to be doing this with students next year and the year after that, about you telling your success story. But you got to go through.
Yeah, I just wanted to add really quick to that all of you, if you do decide to, not even specialize, but if you specialize and want to study for the board exam, you're going to be working in your practice and needing to know that skill. And even in general practice, if you go for the College of Diplomats, there's other things you have to do to prepare. So I think it's a great skill to learn how to hyper focus your studying specifically, and that will definitely help you. So all of you will be in that situation in the future after you graduate from dental school, if you continue to reach your fullest potential and strive for the highest level of credentialing you can get. Anything else, guys? Was there any? I wanted to say that after going through the DAT, looking in hindsight, is there anything you could share that you wish you had done differently, or focused more on, or even in the whole test day experience?
I mean, just point them out. Just call them. Just make them answer the question.
Yeah, that's helpful. But Vincent, it sounds like you were saying something.
Yeah, something that really helped me. So when I first started studying, after my friends and I signed up for the DAT bootcamp subscription, we took a look at the sample schedule that was already on the website, and something that struck out to us before we started planning on condensing or studying or practicing or anything was the very last day on the schedule before the actual exam date. It was just a straight up rest day. It explicitly said do nothing the day right before the exam, and all of us saw that and we were just what? Shouldn't we review something or practice something or do anything before, But a lot of I asked a lot of upperclassmen or students who had already taken the exam about that, and they highly suggested it. So that's what I did. The day before, I think my exam was on a Sunday afternoon. So that Saturday before, I honestly did nothing. That whole day I just spent spending time with my friends and family. I was watching movies, playing, spending some time outside, just doing everything I could to get my mind off of it and just relax. And contrary to when I was beginning to studying and looking at this rest date, why would I ever do this? It really helped going into the actual exam date. I thought I'd be a lot more stressed, but I went in very calm, relaxed, and I thought that with the rest day I'd forget everything that I studied. But because of that, I went into the exam fully prepared, fully ready, and it really helped me to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my answer might be a bit more not your typical answer. To be honest with you, I did everything I could. If I was to look back, I'm not sure there was anything